My wife and I have been together for 25 years and married for 19. We are high school sweethearts and have two amazing kids, a daughter and a son. I was honestly under the impression that we had a solid marriage and our relationship wouldn't be like our friends and colleagues. We'd actually stand the test of time, and now I see how naive and wrong I was. My wife has been a stay-at-home mom for most of our lives, something we both agreed, but after our kids went to college, she began feeling restless. She was telling me she was feeling unfulfilled and felt like she had lost sense of who she was. I tried recommending hobbies that we could do together, places we could visit, or even adopting puppies if that would help. At first, she was all for it, but soon began saying she wanted to feel like she was contributing and not simply coasting through life. I understood and was willing to support her. She never liked sitting still, so I kind of expected it. She has told some of her friends, and one of them actually managed to get her an interview at a real estate firm. She used to work in one before having kids, and I was just as excited as she was when she was accepted. In the beginning, things were going great, but after the first year, I saw some changes in her. She started going for drinks with co-workers, began texting more than usual when at home, at odd hours in the night. She even started wearing a particular type of perfume and would wear some suggestive clothing, nothing too revealing, but clothing that complemented her body figure a lot more than usual. But what made me suspicious was when I accidentally saw a message from a male co-worker on her phone, which seemed to be highly inappropriate and flirtatious. I asked about it, and I could see she was slightly shaken, but assured me he was simply a friend and she would talk to him about the inappropriate messages. Me, not wanting to be the paranoid and jealous husband, chose to believe her and let it go. Oh, how I wish I didn't. Her behavior got stranger as the time went on. She started mentioning how she wanted to be more spontaneous in life and even picked up smoking. I made jokes about she seemed to be living the same college lifestyle as our kids and suggested she slow down, but she dropped an absolute boom when she mentioned in a drunken state after another night of going out that maybe I dimmed her lights and was holding her back. I was completely blindsided by this and really believed I was messing up. So I tried to do everything to improve the marriage, even booked counseling, but it went nowhere. Then, out of the blue, that strange behavior stopped. My wife apologized for the way she acted. She said it was like she forgot who she was, but realized what she had at home and knew she did not want to lose it. She resigned from her job and we began marriage counseling. It was tough initially, but things improved immensely, and for the 2 years our marriage was better than ever. She was more attentive, she initiated intimacy more, and would shower me with affection. The only problem is her relationship with our daughter seemed to be on a nosedive. I would question my wife about it, but she would tell me it was a growing phase or a woman thing, and once again, I would take her word for it. Funny thing is, during this period, my relationship with my daughter improved. She called a lot more, meet me for coffee or lunch during the week, and even bought me things like t-shirts and stuff. I always told her it wasn't necessary, but she insisted, and I could always say that she wanted to say something but would hold her tongue. Tragedy struck one evening. As my wife returning from doing groceries, she was hit by a drunk driver and she unfortunately lost the use of legs. She has been wheelchair bound ever since. Things got really bad and she was making suggestions, me seeing other women, to which I obviously refused. I just chalked it up for her depression and reminded her that I was here to stay because I loved her more than our situation. This actually made her cry and ask me why I was so good to her or what she did to deserve me. Again, I chalked it up to depression and just tried to help her the best I can. Sometime later, we went for a medical checkup and the doctor sat us down to inform us that they found a mass in my wife's throat. It was of an unusual size, and because it may be cancerous, they have to do a biopsy. My first reaction was shock, as my wife was just blank at first, then started laughing. It started small and then became hysterical as she started mumbling that this was her punishment. We managed to calm her down, but she requested that before the biopsy, we do a family dinner. I of course agreed, and we had kids and immediate family over. I made a speech about how my wife was the light of my life and how we could get through this. But at the end of my speech, I noticed my daughter was rather uncomfortable. Next day evening, my daughter called me drunk, begging me not to hate her. At first I was confused, but reassured her that I would never hate her because she is my little girl and I would always love her. At those words, she goes on to tell me how she caught her mother with another man that she had never seen before. It was during the time my wife was working for the real estate firm. My daughter has gone on a road trip with some friends and decided to pass by a dinner place they normally go to, and that's where she saw her mother lip-locked with a man that looked nothing like me. Apparently, this was why their relationship worsened and ours improved. I confronted my wife, and to her credit, she did not deny it, through tears confirmed it was the co-worker from the messages and said it was the dumbest thing that she has ever done. She said he was always coming on to her and eventually wore down her walls. She tells me getting caught by her daughter made her realize the gravity of what she was doing. She wanted to take it to the grave because she never wanted to hurt me and was too much of a coward to confess, so she begged our daughter not to tell me. I am absolutely shattered at the revelation and don't know what to do. I now question every aspect of our relationship and wonder where I went wrong. She tells me I'm a good husband and none of this is on me. The problem is, since that time, I haven't been loving towards her. I still take care of her, but it's more like a nurse does with a patient rather than a husband to his wife. If I leave her, she'll be completely stranded. She's dependent on me both financially and emotionally. And it means immensely unfair. And now it's time for the update. Okay, here we go. I did something I'm not proud of. My wife has always been my case to experience my true feelings and thoughts about her, no matter how ugly or cruel they may be. Not long after my first post, that afternoon, as I prepared lunch for her like I always do, and just when I was about to leave her to her meal, she suddenly grabbed my hand and once again begged me to say something to her. Anything, because it was killing her the way I have been treating her since D-Day. At those words, I just exploded and a lot came out of me. I told her that for me, she was perfection, but since this happened, she has become used in my eyes. I told her that the very sound of her voice used to make me want to give her the world, but now simply being around her makes me want to run and never look back. I told her that now she's like a dead weight around my neck that will never leave because it needs me to survive. I explained throughout all this, she's still somehow the first thing I think about when I wake up in the morning and the last thing that I think about when I go to sleep at night. And now those thoughts are accompanied by a pain that I never knew existed. It makes me absolutely miserable because somehow I still need her. I still want to hold her in my arms, but each time I touch her, I have mental movies of her with another man. But what eats at me the most is the fact she dragged our daughter into this. She put our baby girl in an impossible position and expected life to go on like nothing happened. I pointed out, even despite the current circumstances, her relationship with our daughter has hardly changed, and that is the fruit of her actions. My wife was just sobbing through it all, and at the end, she simply said she deserved all that is coming her way. She said she tried her hardest to atone the disgusting decision she made during the time and never stopped asking forgiveness from our daughter. She explained that seeing me in this state makes her feel like a horrible person and she will do absolutely anything to help me heal and recover from this. She also added that she wanted me to know that even if I never forgive her and ended up divorcing her, she has and always will love only me, that she doesn't regret our life and marriage because it is more than she could ever ask for. Apparently, she could hardly look herself in the mirror because of who was looking back at her and she never wanted to be that person. I can see she clearly hates herself for what she did, but I am torn about all this. I never knew it was possible to absolutely love someone and hate them at the same time. I have decided to book therapy for me and my wife because I have a lot that I want to say to her, but I'm afraid I'll go too far, so speaking in a controlled environment will be the best.